Thanks for tuning in and welcome back to the box. This is the inside of our 2013 Mitsubishi Fuso FG that I'm slowly turning into an overland camper. In the back half of the Habitat box, you'll see the start of a bed frame, and the intent is when we're not using it, this bed frame can raise up to the ceiling. But before we can start using it, I need to finish building it. Because as strong as T-slot extrusion is, I don't think this is enough support. The 5 crossbars that run across the width of the bed are only 1 inch deep, and I don't think they're going to have enough support to hold a mattress with 2 people on it. So today, I'm going to work on adding 3 crossbars that go the length of the bed, which will end up supporting the crossbars that go across the width of the bed to hopefully provide enough support for the entire bed surface that it doesn't all sink down in the middle. There's a number of ways that I could look at adding lengthwise support. One would be to use the same 1x1 T-slot extrusion running underneath, and that would help support the ones running across. However, with the length going across, when I apply weight in the middle, I can see these do bow, and this is even longer. So I think I want to avoid having really long runs of the T-slot extrusion. What I'm looking for is something that's not going to bow in the middle or not going to bow in the middle as easily. And the more height we have to whatever structure that is, the stiffer it's going to be able to resist bending in the long direction. What I mean here is you can see quite easily as I add weight to these, they bow down. Now some bowing here is nice because it'll give the bed a bit of spring, but we don't want these to bow down so much in the middle that they end up permanently bowed in the middle and then our bed has a sag in it. So the deeper these are, similar to this, the harder they are to bend in this direction. Now at the same time, I don't need a lot of strength in the side-to-side direction, so what I use can be fairly skinny this way as long as it's tall like this. And that means we're using flat bar. Similarly to the way that I designed these brackets to hold the 1010 T-slot onto the 4080 T-slot, I've designed these brackets. These brackets are designed to hold a piece of 2x4 aluminum flat bar onto the outer frame. By splitting the bracket in half, I can allow this piece to drop into the slot, as well as this piece to drop up into the slot, and then when we tie them together, they're basically locked in place on the outer support structure, allowing us to drop the flat bar in here, put 2 holes through it, and secure the flat bar with 2/4 20 bolts. Basically sliding this in and dropping it down, and then sliding this in, pushing it up, sliding the 2 together. This is now locked in place, it can't go anywhere, and has this lip down at the bottom to support the flat bar. There's going to be 3 spots where flat bar run from one end to the other, and each spot where the flat bar crosses one of the T-slot extrusions, we'll have to put a little notch in it. Yes, putting a notch in the flat bar is going to weaken it because we're reducing the overall height, but where they cross over the other ones, we're going to secure the 2 together, which should give us back some of the strength. Additionally, the top of the flat bar where the notch is should be in compression because it's trying to be pushed downward, which means it'll be pinching onto this bar, as opposed to if the notch was on the underside, it would be trying to spread apart. So bracket, flat bar, and some screws. I've already cut 3 pieces of flat bar that are the right length. That's the easy part. What I need to do now is in the exact same spot on all 3 pieces of flat bar, I need to make a square groove. Now the easiest way to get everything in the same spot is going to be to do everything at the same time. So I've taped the 3 pieces of flat bar together and marked where the grooves need to go. Cutting a square slot into 3 pieces of flat bar, well, the first 2 pieces are easy, this cut and this cut, but how do you do that cut? Kind of a trick question. You don't do a that cut, you do a whole lot of this cut. So what I'm gonna do is a number of cuts going in this way, which will end up with a square notch. So it's probably about, I don't know, 8 or 10 cuts going this way, which I'm gonna do with my circular saw with a 60-tooth blade. But before I do that, I have to solve the issue of ending up with a square corner here, because square sharp corners in metal are where you start getting fatigue cracks. We don't want cracks, and also we want it to match the shape of the T-slot, which is a rounded corner. So that means before I do all of my this cuts, I'm gonna do these holes. These holes in each corner will give me a radius at the bottom. It's not very big, but it's more than nothing. So what I'll have to do is drill my corner holes, cut my depth to the top of the hole, which I will do all of those cuts first. Then I'll need to lower the depth of my saw blade to reach the bottom, and I'll go the rest of the way across. Now it's actually really critical that these holes are perpendicular exactly to the top surface. Because I'm drilling through 3/4 of an inch or 3 pieces of flat bar, I don't want the hole to move in the bottom piece compared to where it is in the top piece. And because of that, I actually snuck down in the basement and used my drill press. So now we have perfectly perpendicular holes in the bottom corners. So now it's time to do the noisy and messy part with my circular saw to remove the majority of this material. And I was actually thinking I'm going to do it the other way around from what I initially said. I'm going to go from the middle of this hole at the full depth to the middle of this hole, and then I will take away the material from the edges, because I think I'm better off to take the material at the edges away using my horizontal bandsaw instead of my circular saw, because it gives me much better control. By clamping the aluminum between 2 steel box tubes, I can keep the whole assembly stable and upright, and I have a surface for the saw to rest on. I've also made sure that the top surface of the aluminum is flush with the steel. The whole assembly is resting on some scrap wood so I don't scratch the bottom of the aluminum on the concrete. With the 60-tooth carbide blade in my DeWalt 20-volt saw, this is easy work, but you do have to take your time and let the saw do the work. It's not wood. And this is what we end up with. Just 4 more to go. Well, I don't know if you can hear that, but luckily I got all my outside work done before it started hailing. So now it's just a matter of trimming the edges on the horizontal bandsaw. And with all the saw work done and some nice square holes, we can go back and fit them into the bed frame. To do that is going to be a little difficult. Effectively, what I have to do is slip these underneath the bed, turn them 90 degrees, put the retaining clips on each side, or half of the retaining clip, lift the flat bar up and rotate it into place with every single one of the T-slots lining up perfectly as I rotate it. What are the odds that everything is in exactly the right place on the first attempt? All right, that wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. Kind of wiggled it up into place and then popped the end on and slid the clip on, and I did the same thing over there. I'll do a closer up shot of this one as I slip it in. I just used a little wrap of tape in the middle to kind of hold it roughly, because I only have 2 hands like most people. So with this flat bar kind of roughly in place, it's a matter of slipping it over on top of the bottom lip, and then with this pushed all the way down, I can take the other half of the clip, push it all the way up, slide it over, and that, with the 2 bolts, will be holding the flat bar. I can still slide it around this way. It's not really critical exactly where it is. We want it around the middle of the bed, but doesn't matter if it's off by a little bit. Following the same method, number 3 goes in just as easily. Well, after a slight trim of some excess material on the last 3D printed part. And we now have everything roughly in place. So we've got 3 flat bar clips installed on that side, 3 flat bar clips installed on that side, and these are just sort of wherever they fall. I haven't done anything to position them in the right place. I'm not too worried about that right now. Now, some of you might be worried that these are made of printed parts and wonder if they're actually going to be strong enough. Well, they're printed out of PETG carbon fiber, which is reasonably strong and temperature resistant, so it should be okay inside the vehicle. I did some really rough theoretical math, if you want to call it, and if this entire platform's weight with the mattress and 2 people on it is supported on each one of these connection points, we have 16 connection points all the way around the outside. So let's call it 450 pounds of total weight on the bed. Then each one of those points is going to be supporting about 28 pounds. But in reality, that's not how it's going to work. The entire weight of the bed is not going to be supported only by the perimeter frame, because where these flat bars cross over top of the seat box, there will be a little post that this rests on when the bed is down. So we'll have 6 additional points where the bed frame is supported farther in from the edge, which takes a significant amount of load off of all the perimeter connection points. In addition to that, if I find that 3 of these flat bars is not enough across here, it's very easy to just change the spacing on these and add 3 more or 2 more or 20 more if I need them. But I don't think that's going to be the case. Now the only thing I have left to do is drilling the holes for the 1/4 bolts out at the end. I think you know how that looks, so I'm going to leave that out of this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give us a thumbs up. If you haven't already, consider subscribing. Check out the links in the video description. But most importantly, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.